I'm Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1.
Line drive to the base hit. Justice has scored the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is gonna be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Forbes Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series for Reggie Jackson. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Rack and roll. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them over the faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run! The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires, ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Here's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right.
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. Yes, it's goodbye. Home run.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a jam. The Twins are gonna win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here? You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of the Dan Scott Show. It is Thanksgiving week, and we've got a lot to be thankful for here at Furman, as well as in our personal lives, and hope that you do as well. Hope you feel that way. Good to have you with us. I am Dan Scott, and we've got a jam-packed show to get through in about 45 minutes today because we do have a Clay Hendricks press conference at 11 a.m., and we're hoping those are going to continue for a few weeks because it is now postseason football time across the FCS landscape, and the Paladins have made the field, as you, I'm sure, know by now, and will open the first round of the playoffs on the road in Clarksville, Tennessee at Austin Peay. We will not be taking the last train to Clarksville. We'll be driving a rental car, but you get the idea. It was an interesting day yesterday, to say the least, in watching the selection show. And of course, TV does what TV does. They try to build the drama, and they spent one segment talking about the first 4 national seeds, and then a long commercial break, and the second segment talking about the next 4 national seeds, and then another commercial break, and then you get the field beginning to be unveiled. 2 years ago, Furman found out it would be in the playoffs when the last bracket was shown, right at the very end. Last year, of course, did not show up at all in a oversight that we thought was very egregious. And then this year, didn't have to wait too long, as a matter of fact. Inside that first segment, when they went to the brackets, it was revealed that Furman and Austin Peay would be playing in the first round of the playoffs. What was intriguing to find out is that Furman was one of the last 4 teams in, and South Carolina State was one of the last 4 teams out. And when you look at South Carolina State's resume and compare it with North Dakota, the logo you see bottom left there, it's really a head-scratcher as to how the Bulldogs did not get in. North Dakota is a FCS independent, and their resume is middling, to say the least. Where South Carolina State has a resume that includes, among other things, a win over a top 10 Wofford team back at the early part of the season. But that's what it looked like. That Furman was in the last 4 in, and South Carolina State was in the last 4 out. But the bottom line is the Paladins are in, and as Tom Van Hoy likes to say all those years as the play-by-play voice of Division II Pittsburgh State, which is one of the powers in D2, their old coach used to say, you get in, you might win one, you might win 2, you just never know. Thing is, you got to get in. And the Paladins are in for the second time in Clay Hendricks' 3 years. So as we go through the course of the day today, we're going to be talking a lot about that, obviously. We'll be visiting with Don Clardy, as we do on Mondays. Scott Keeler will be with us, as he is on Mondays. And then we'll be heading out at about 11:40 or 10:45 to head downstairs to the Clay Hendricks press conference, which streams live on Furman's Facebook page beginning at 11 a.m. All of the travel plans and everything for the Paladins won't be known until later this afternoon. Don't know anything. I've seen some questions online already. Will there be fan buses and all that kind of stuff? And we don't know the answer to any of that. We do know that NCAA pays the travel. Austin Peay will make the arrangements, and we'll find that out a little bit later on this afternoon. Now, to what we witnessed this past Saturday in the regular season finale, I think it's what everybody thought we would see happen. There was no it was just a business-like kind of atmosphere in a pouring rain. The crowd obviously was very, very small. The opponent had something to do with it, and the weather certainly had something to do with it. And there was no over exertion of excitement or no over the top anything. It was just going out and doing your job and getting it done and rolling up to what became a 64-7 victory. In fact, the largest show of emotion came on the sidelines after this play. Sisson will go in the pistol back to either side. He's going to roll to his right. Throwing on the run. It is complete to Thomas Gordon down around the 5-yard line, and that will be the record setter for number 89. Thomas Gordon now stands alone in first place, all-time career receiving yardage, passing Andre Suttles with that catch. A gain of 7, and congratulations to number 89. Boy, you talk about a guy who has persevered in 4 years here, 2 head coaches, 3 offensive coordinators, and 6 different quarterbacks, and now the record holder. So what was cool is when Thomas came to the sidelines and a couple of plays later during a timeout, they made the announcement over the sound system here at Paladin Stadium about the fact that he had just set the record for career receiving yardage. And when they did that, the entire team came flooding to him and congratulated him. It was a cool moment on the sidelines and probably the most emotion that was showed by anybody during the course of that game. So the Paladins do what they intended to do and rolled up to that victory and finished the regular season at 8-4. Incidentally, Julius Dixon, of course, the coach of Point, the former Paladin defensive captain on the 88 championship team. We did the interview with him last week. If you missed that, it is going to be this week's Furman Sports Weekly, the podcast that will be released tomorrow morning, wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Google Plus, or Google Play, or wherever. You'll be able to find that just by searching Furman Sports Weekly. That will be tomorrow's podcast. So the Paladins 8-4 get the call and head into the playoffs against an Austin Peay team that won the Ohio Valley Conference and is in the FCS playoffs for the first time. So here's what the top half of the bracket looks like. That includes Furman's Road, and it begins with the game at Austin Peay on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And the winner of that game will fly to Sacramento, California, to take on the number 4 national seed, Sacramento State. You see that start time there. That's a 9 o'clock Eastern Time start in 2 weeks, 6 o'clock California time. So that's what the Paladins are hoping. They are hoping to get a win and then to hit the jet plane and take off to the capital of the state of California for round 2 of the playoffs. You see North Dakota, who got in at the top against Nicholls State, and then the winner of that gets the number 1 overall seed, North Dakota State. Southeast Missouri State and Illinois State will play, and the winner gets the number 8 seed, Central Arkansas. Albany and Central Connecticut, the winner there gets the number 5 seed, Montana State, a week from this coming Saturday, basically almost 2 full weeks away. The bottom part of the bracket, starting at the top, is where Wofford is. And Wofford and Kennesaw State get a first-round matchup. This is an intriguing one as well because Kennesaw State knocked Wofford out of the playoffs a year ago. The winner of that game gets number 3 Weber State, which is out in Ogden, Utah. The Southeastern Louisiana Villanova winner will get number 6 Montana. UNI and San Diego will battle, with the winner getting South Dakota State, and Monmouth and Holy Cross will play, and the winner getting the number 2 seed, James Madison. So that's your playoff bracket, and you look at the bracket, it's kind of interesting that Wofford, with a win, even though they were the Southern Conference champion, the way the bracket fell, they would have to play a higher seed in the second round than Furman if the Paladins win. Now, it's just 1 seed difference, but Wofford would play the number 3 seed, Weber State, and Furman, as we flash back, would play the number 4 seed, Sacramento State. All of that is contingent, of course, on winning game number 1, and let's see how that checks out. But the Paladins, this would be a difficult road to say the least. You beat Austin Peay, then you've got to beat the number 4 seed Sacramento State. You likely have to beat then the number 5 seed Montana State, and then you'd have to beat North Dakota State. That's a pretty significant road just to get there, but you've at least got a chance, and that's the most important thing right now for this group. The mood around here obviously is one of great anticipation, as you might imagine. A lot of hard work has gone into this, and I saw a quote from one of the players yesterday who talked about the fact that they came into this season with that motto, leave no doubt, after what happened last year. And unfortunately, they left some doubt. And as it turned out, for good reason, there was some doubt. They were one of the last 4 teams in. But it's a body of work that the committee decided was good enough, and now you got an opportunity to extend your season. And let's see what happens. It's going to be a fun matchup. On Wednesday, we'll take a deeper dive look at Austin Peay. We'll know travel arrangements by then. We'll know a lot more about all of that by the time we get to Wednesday's show. I'm guessing we may not have a show on Friday because we'll be in travel mode to Clarksville, Tennessee, but we'll also know more about that once Wednesday rolls around. In any event, what we're going to do now is take a break, and we're going to come back, and when we do, Don Clardy will join us. We'll get his thoughts on this team in the playoffs and draw on some of his playoff experience. And then Scott Keeler will join us after our interview with Don Clardy. So a lot to get to, all before about 10:45. This is the Dan Scott Show, and we'll return with more after this. Hey, everybody, Dan Scott here, and I want to tell you about my technology partner, Carolina Creative Group. When my show needed a creative technology boost, I turned to Carolina Creative Group. My custom design website is going to take marketing as well as brand strategy and development to new levels. The search engine optimization means that my clients' ads will be seen by more people more often. And if I have any questions, Carolina Creative Group is just a phone call away. Friends, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. You can find out all the ways that Carolina Creative Group can help your business by simply calling 864-250-2012. Again, that's 864-250-2012, or simply visit them online at carolinacreative.co. Carolina Creative Group, technology partner of the Dan Scott Show.
Imagine a university. A university where your passion for protecting local water sources is encouraged. And now, your work not only benefits your career, but the health of those in your community and around the world. This is Furman. This is the Furman Advantage.
If you're looking for auto repair, you want superior work, not inferior parts and worse, inferior pricing. Hi, this is Dan Scott. I take all of my business to Superior Auto Care. That's Chris Burkett at 410 Ross Avenue in Easley. He brought my wife's car back from the dead. There's no other way to say it. For 4 months, it had been sitting with a major transmission issue. Chris was able to diagnose it along with some other problems and get it back and running again. Mrs. Scott is happy, and guys, you know how it is. Happy wife, happy life, right? Well, he can do it all for you, from the simple things like oil changes, brake service, air conditioning service, tires, to major engine and transmission work, even electrical work. Works on domestic cars as well as foreign cars. Again, they're located at 410 Ross Avenue. That's Superior Auto Care. Give them a call today at 864-306-1988. Superior Auto Care in Easley.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
All right, we are back and rolling on this Monday edition of the program. Dan Scott here with you up until about 10:45 today, again, because of the Clay Hendricks press conference. Incidentally, the final Clay Hendricks radio show of the year will be held tonight. We'll be back at Shortfields as we normally are. Went to the Field House last Monday, but back at Shortfields tonight. Final Clay Hendricks show. Fox Sports 1440, our flagship station, will have it 7 to 8 p.m. and also on Furman's Facebook page, streaming live yet again. All right, to the aptly named celebrity guest line now, and welcoming in Don Clardy, member of the 88 champs here at Furman. You know, I associate myself with nothing but royalty. You know, we talked to Ed Patterson during the pregame show, 88 champs, my color partner, color commentator, David Cobb, 88 champs, Don Clardy, 88 champs. I'm a front runner, Don. I think that's basically what it comes down to.
Well, you hang out with all the right people, Dan, so that's obviously in your favor. No doubt about it.
It's the least I can do, and never let it be said I didn't do the least I could do. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, I will say, though, hanging out with David Cobb now, that at some point, that may bring you down a little bit, but we'll overlook that.
You know, we've been dealing with that ratings drag for quite a while now, but it's my burden to bear. So we come to find out once the playoff bracket is revealed that Don Clardy has some enemy blood in him. How about this?
Yeah, that's it was mind-boggling when I saw that. And really, I was born in Clarksville, Tennessee, where Austin Peay is. Both of my parents were born and raised in Clarksville, Tennessee. My dad did his undergraduate and some grad school at Austin Peay. So I thought I was in the twilight zone yesterday when I saw who they were going to play in the first round. It's amazing.
Fortunately for you, you got out of there when you were just a little guy, right? So it didn't really infect you at all.
That's right. The good news is I lived there for about a year, but I didn't know that I was living there at the time, and I don't remember that I was living there. But I've been to Clarksville so many times in my life. It's just a place that I've been a lot. Now, both my parents were only children, and the generations, I'm old enough to where all my grandparents are now gone, so there's not a whole lot of direct family there, but I have cousins and folks. Just a great aunt who was the twin sister of my grandmother just passed away at age 100 last year. So so Clarksville, we don't get there much now, but many times in my lifetime I've been to Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah, so. It's a military town, as you well know, and a little bit of history. Somebody a long time ago asked the Monkees, who became famous in the 1960s, the fabricated TV band for the television show, and actually went on and had a great career. And Mickey Dolenz and Mike Nesmith are still touring, as a matter of fact. But one of the songs that was written for them, their first single, "Last Train to Clarksville," somebody asked them, why did you not do any protest songs, which were popular back in the mid and late 60s, and said, "Last Train to Clarksville was a protest song because one of the lines is, I don't know if I'm ever coming home." And the inference was they were going, taking that train to the military base and then being shipped out somewhere. So just a little Clarksville history there.
Man, that's impressive, Dan. I'm impressed with your knowledge.
Yeah, I'm going to play the song here in a little bit, but you couldn't hear it the way we've got it set up anyway. So you obviously have been through this as a player. During your 4 years, when it came to the playoffs, how many times were automatic bids? How many times were selections?
Well, we won the conference all 3 years that we made it to the playoffs, sophomore, junior, and senior. But I'm trying to think if 1 year we may have tied and not been I think my senior year, because we ended up going to Eastern Kentucky and Richmond, Kentucky, and playing in the first round, and they were a top seed. So I think we maybe tied for the conference championship my senior year, and maybe we didn't get the automatic bid, or if we did, we still lost out on the home game, which Interestingly, also EKU, my Eastern Kentucky, my dad also did some graduate work, and I lived there when I was a little kid too. So now we're starting to see a pattern. It only took 30 years for the pattern to occur, but we're seeing that pattern now of this happening.
Yeah,
So,
and of course, one thing you and I have in common there, my wife worked in Richmond, Kentucky for a while before we met. So anyway, yeah, I think we're going way in the opposite direction here. And we got to remind folks, back then it was what, a 16-team field?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep.
So, what were your thoughts as you were anticipating this bracket coming down? And you've seen this team's body of work as it turned out. Maybe not a win that really jumps off the page, but then no really nationally really egregious losses either. In fact, two of the losses may have come into play as far as working in Furman's favor, the way they played Georgia State and Virginia Tech so tough, losing those games by a total of 13 points. What were your thoughts as you watched all of this?
As I watched Furman getting matched up against Austin Peay, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, as the bracket was announced, as we were waiting to see if Furman was in and where they were going.
I mean, with that happening, my immediate thought was, well, I think that's a pretty good selection for us, because it could have been, I think, a lot, significantly more challenging than that. Any team you play in the playoffs is going to be a tough game, so I'm not trying to undersell Austin Peay, but knowing that they had lost to East Tennessee State. We're not getting put up against probably a juggernaut. While they had a really good year, and I'm sure they'll be a really solid team, my initial thought was, okay, that's probably not the worst matchup we can get in the first round.
Yeah, and obviously you take nothing for granted, as you said. But if you're Wofford, you're sitting here and you're thinking to yourself, well, we won the conference outright. We got the number one, the automatic bid. We finished in the top 10 in the country. And who do we draw in the first round? We draw Kennesaw State, the team that beat us and knocked us out of the playoffs last year. And in the second round would have to play a higher seed than Furman would have to play in a second round game, with a game that some people might say would be an easier, quote-unquote, first-round game. You never know. But it's just intriguing to see how the committee put this together, trying to put all the puzzle pieces in and where things fell. You can make an argument that Furman has a better draw, at least in the first couple of rounds, than Wofford does.
Yeah, a lot of fans are, conspiracy theory. It never works out for us. So I would say to our Furman fans who are more conspiracy theorists, we didn't get in last year. It could have gone either way. Let's look at this, take advantage of this, and say, hey, we may have caught a break this year. So let's remember that it doesn't always work against us. I'm generally not one to buy into the conspiracy theories. You're going to have to play good teams in the playoffs. Yep. Sometimes you get better matchups than others, and that's just the way it is. So let's be thankful that we probably got a solid matchup. Now we got to go, work our tails off this week, get ready, and go up there and play some good football. Nothing will be given to us, but if we play well, I think I saw Coach Hendricks comment in the paper, if we play well, we'll be just fine. And I think that's right. We just got to play well and do the things we need to do, control the things that we need to control, and we'll have an opportunity, I think, to win a couple of games here. We'll see what happens.
Visiting with Don Clardy of the 88 Champs and now financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual. This gets you into the point in time now where you never know if this is going to be your final week of the season. How did you approach these practices? How did you approach this time with your teammates? Was that in the back of your mind at all, or were you able to just kind of compartmentalize everything, push that out, and stay completely focused on the task at hand?
My first experience with the playoffs was my sophomore year, which was 88. And as you know, we went all the way and won the national championship. So I think that had an effect my junior and senior year, where I was always confident that we could win that next game. Now, I think anytime you get to be a senior, you probably do spend a little time, and I know I did, thinking about, okay, this could be the last time I walk on the field with my brothers, playing the last time I ever play football. in this way, because the NFL knocking my door down, believe it or not. But I think your senior year is always going to be a little different. You really know that each time could be the last time you step on the field. Prior to that, for us, I mean, we felt like we were going to win every time, especially after going through the slate in '88 and winning them all. So,
what were the practices like? I mean, was there a different intensity, a different level of enthusiasm, or was it just your basic? Let's get down to business and let's get this done.
Yeah, I think it was more business-like. Let's get it done. Usually, that first round was Thanksgiving week, and as I recall, all the students were off. Nobody was on campus. We were kind of isolated out there, and it was just very business-like, and we were able, because we had the whole week off, you weren't dealing with classes and all that. I felt like we were really able to have good, focused practices, and we were even typically able to sneak away for a day on Thursday. And I live close enough, 2 hours away, where we could go home and get some good cooking for Thanksgiving, but just for a day. But those were always, that first round, those were always good weeks, just because we were able to be so focused, but yet get a little break as well in there.
Yeah, it could be just a football player for a week, right?
Absolutely.
Not have to worry about class and everything else. Given what you've seen out of this team this year, Don, how do you expect they're going to play? What do they have to do to be successful?
Offensively, interesting what they did this week. Who's going to be our quarterback? Whoever it's going to be is going to have to come out with confidence and play well. I don't know if we're thinking at this point it's probably Granger starting or some kind of rotation with the Sisson and Granger. That can be a little problematic if it doesn't work out right, to still be volleying back and forth at this point. So hopefully that will take care of itself. Defensively, I don't know exactly what Austin Peay runs. Certainly, I think I don't know that they're running a lot of option, et cetera, and that's been a little bit more of a challenge for our defense. We've been able to step up pretty effectively against most of the offenses we played this year. So really, both sides of the ball are going to just have to play really well and execute their game plans. Kicking game is usually in our favor, and we will hope that happens again on Saturday. But I think both sides of the ball are going to have to just really play well.
If you're defensive coordinator Dwayne Vaughn, I think you have to be confident regardless of what Austin Peay or anybody throws at you, simply because you go through the Southern Conference season and you see so many different kinds of offense. I mean, you see the option, you see the spread, you see the pro style. So there's not really anything out there that's going to surprise you, where some conferences never see the option at all, and maybe all they see is everybody runs some version of the spread. Do you think that works in Furman's favor at all?
Yeah, I think when you get to the playoffs, I know that was a big advantage for us in the playoffs. We ran a good bit of option, as they still do today, and teams really from the Northeast or Midwest did not see that a lot at the time, at least in 1AA football. So we would take big advantage of some things that we could do with our option offense with a lot of those teams that hadn't seen it. So I think the fact that we've been able to see it several times, we're going to need to improve our defense against it. But having seen it, having some experience with it can only help us in that regard.
All right, Don, tell everybody a little bit more about what you do and how they can get in touch with you.
Dan, we really just try to help our clients make sure they're financially secure, educate them a little in areas that they may not be aware of, and just help take care of all their financial needs. I can be reached on my direct line, 864-679-3849, or I can be reached by email at don.clardy@n, as in Northwestern, m as in mutual.com.
Sounds good, my friend. We appreciate it as always, and hopefully we're doing this again next week.
I hope so. Look forward to it, Dan.
All right, Don. Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
That is Don Clardy, as we visit with him every Monday. Our next visit is another guy we visit with every Monday, and that is Scott Keeler. He'll be joining us when we return from the break.
Take the last train to Clarksville and I'll meet you at the station. You can be here by 4:30 'cause I've made your reservation. Don't be slow.
Scott here for Todaro Pizza. Some of you may remember my old radio show in Clemson. Todaro Pizza was a sponsor of mine from the earliest days of the show. And if you know anything about me when it comes to advertising restaurants, if I don't like the food, I ain't going to tell you to go there. I love Todaro Pizza, and now Clemson's Best Pizza has finally come to Greenville. Yes, the new Todaro location is located at 116 North Markley Street, right down the block from Fluor Field. Classic, specialty and stuffed pizzas, calzones, wings, and so much more. The No Limit Lunch Buffet is available 7 days a week for just $8. Monday night is cheap pizza night, and you can try your hand at trivia every Thursday. Todaro Pizza has outdoor dining on Markley. It's open late, making it a convenient stop before or after the drive games. Find them on Facebook or online at TodaroPizza.com. Todaro Pizza, 864-603-3500.
For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant more life-changing wishes. Visit Make-A-Wish online now. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Dan Scott here for the Atlanta Bread Company. What do I like about Atlanta Bread? Well, too much to mention in a short commercial, but here are a few things. Bread baked daily fresh on site, a tremendous selection of soup, sandwiches, and salads, seasonal special additions to the menu, delicious hot coffee, and a bevy of other drink options, and yeah, can't forget about the baked sweet goodies. Dine in or carry out, and when you have the Atlanta Bread Company app, you can order and pay online, then breeze past the lines to the pickup counter to get your food. Experience it for yourself. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville. If you're looking for a unique dining experience in the Clemson area, let me suggest Four Paws American Pub, where they have specials like Carolina popcorn, a freshly battered fried okra, which is the hottest selling appetizer and side item in the upstate, or the Bulldozer, the signature burger featuring a fried green tomato, Four Paws pimento cheese and bacon with a smoky house aioli, or you can build your own burger or a fresh green salad from a large selection of toppings. And they also have the teriyaki salmon pan-seared over rice or a bed of green salad. Enjoy terrific food at Four Paws American Pub in Clemson. You can enjoy local recipes while watching games on the TVs or relaxing with your pup on the dog-friendly patio. Come to Four Paws, located on Highway 93 in front of the Courtyard Marriott, or call 654-5151 to order for carry-out and tailgating. You need to make tracks to Four Paws American Pub. Hey everybody, Dan Scott. You know, I've been telling you for some time now that I switched the protection of my home and family to Security Complete. I can tell you that I've been ecstatic with the results. Locally owned with more than 40 years experience in the industry, Security Complete uses nothing but the latest technology, which equals low overhead, which equals greater savings to the customer. Fully automated systems with monitoring rates much lower than the competition. Security Complete gives you all this and does not require a contract of any length. Find out more by calling 864-546-0630 or find them on Facebook and Twitter. Security Complete, my first line of defense. Make them yours today.
We're all trying to find our way, forge a path, blaze a trail. The work is hard and the work is personal, but you can't do it alone. At Furman, we're committed to giving you an advantage. The Furman Advantage. We know that graduates who are emotionally supported and who have deep learning experiences in college are 3 times as likely to be engaged at work and thriving in life. At Furman, all students are guaranteed 4 years of rigorous classroom education integrated with high-impact research, internships, study away, and a community of support every step of the way. This is the Furman advantage.
Is your roof leaking or damaged? Do your gutters need repaired? You can Google roofing companies until your computer overheats, or you can simply call the best, Bracken Roofing and Gutter. Whether it's roof replacement, new and remodel installation, roofing insurance claims, whatever your needs, Bracken Roofing and Gutter will simply do it right the first time. And the same goes for gutter screen installations. Forget about balancing on ladders and cleaning your gutters. Let Bracken Roofing and Gutter screen them for you today. Listen, do not settle for subpar work. Get a free inspection today. Check out the reviews on Facebook. You'll see many satisfied customers, and they're all saying the same thing, that they're happy that they chose Bracken Roofing and Gutter. That's Bracken Roofing and Gutter. Call Kyle today at 864-704-5993. All right, welcome back. It's the final segment of the show today. As always on Mondays during football season, as long as the Paladins continue to win, we are cutting the show about 15 minutes short because of the Clay Hendricks press conference that will stream live on Furman's Facebook page beginning at 11 a.m. And this guy will be there with me asking the probing questions that only he can ask. Scott Keeler, the Furman Sports Report. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What was your anticipation level like as you were watching the playoff bracket being unveiled yesterday?
I really can't repeat on the air what I said when Wofford didn't get a seed, what I turned to my wife and said about Furman's chances when I saw Wofford didn't get a seed. But, you know, then it came around to Austin Peay, and I was like, all right, this is it. If it ain't here, it ain't going to be anywhere. And there it was. So,
you know, we were talking with Don Clardy a moment ago, as you know, and it is kind of interesting if you look at the draw, at least in the first couple of rounds. You can always say, well, North Dakota State's looming at the end of Furman's bracket should they get lucky and go on a roll. But you look at Wofford's draw as a quote unquote higher seed, if you will, and Furman's draw. I'll take Furman's, in at least in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, you would think so. It's just so funny how things change over the years. Back in the Don Clardy days, I would come here with my grandpa and beat Idaho and Stephen F. Austin and all these places all these teams from wherever coming to the southeast, and now everything is in the Northwest. And in the West and Northwest, it seems the power of the FCS is all kind of centrally located out there. But yeah, it's funny too. There's two teams in this field this year that have never made the playoffs before: Austin Peay and Sacramento State, against a team that's made it a bunch.
Right.
So potentially, if Furman can take care of business on Saturday, so it's just kind of interesting.
Were you around yesterday for the comments afterwards?
I was not here yesterday. I took a little hiatus from coming to Furman because I was here Friday, Saturday, today, and I'll be in Elon tomorrow for basketball. So
I can dig that. Obviously, players and coaches have to be excited. They have and feel like they belong here. And when you look at Furman's resume as the 8-4 plays out in its entirety, as I said a moment ago, I get your thoughts on this. There was no off-the-charts win, so to speak, but there really wasn't an off-the-charts egregious loss, and I maintain that maybe the two losses by a combined 13 points to Virginia Tech and Georgia State may have actually helped Furman a little bit.
I would hope that someone would look at that, and I would also hope that you would look at the fact that when you play two FBS games and you have a good record at the end of the year, you only got two FCS losses. That's what had me shaking my head as I was reading all this stuff on Saturday night with people leaving Furman out of their projected field because of that no big win thing. Well, they had people in there with 4 and 5 FCS losses, and it's just like okay. No big win, but are we going to just ignore bad losses by other teams? Frankly, from a Wofford's perspective, they did. You got two teams that have earned seeds one lost Saturday at home to an unranked team and still got a seed. That's South Dakota State. They lost to South Dakota Saturday, which is unranked, not even receiving a vote in the poll. They still got a seed. Central Arkansas lost a couple of weeks ago at home, 34-0, to a team that was unranked at the time. And it's just they still get a seed. So it's just kind of interesting from that perspective. I got to say, meanwhile, Wofford has won 8 consecutive FCS games, all but one by more than 15 points, and it's just who knows? I kind of went on a little diatribe on Twitter before the selection show yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I really do believe that the shadow of Georgia Southern and Appalachian State still looms over this conference, and that the experts nationally kind of believe that, that's that Southern Conference that used to be good. And it's just kind of written off these days because of how incredibly good it was at that time.
This is Scott Keeler from the Furman Sports Report. I think when you found out Furman was in the last 4 in and you looked at the last 4 teams out, I look at North Dakota being in and South Carolina State being out. Mm-hmm. I mean, South Carolina State, resume-wise, seems to check just about every box. No really egregious losses. They got the win over Wofford. Say what you will about when that win took place and the way Wofford's playing now, but Wofford only has 2 losses, and South Carolina State gave them 1 of them.
That's the bottom line. But it is an asterisk. If Wofford had thrown it 25 times in the first half against everybody.
But they didn't.
I know. I'm just saying that's a fact. South Carolina State's got that to go to look at. And I'm also adding, if Wofford threw it 25 times in the first half against everybody, Wofford would have been 0-11 this year. I'm pretty confident.
Say what you will. I'm just looking at resumes and wondering how North Dakota got in and South Carolina State didn't.
Trust me, I kind of just when I saw Furman's name in there, I kind of just said, "All right, I'm gonna punt now." But I was all set to go ballistic. But
have you started any investigation into Austin Peay yet?
It's interesting. I think they've got a really strong. They have a really numbers-wise strong run defense, so that should be a key matchup this week. I think they're 5th nationally in rushing yards allowed per game. So you know what they're going to do, like everybody else has done against Furman.
Load the box.
Yep, load it up and dare Furman to throw probably.
On a day, as we were talking when you walked in the door, that the forecast holds, check me if you've heard this one before, 80% chance of rain with a possibility of up to a half-inch rain falling and winds upwards of 12 miles an hour.
Yes, it has been a night and day difference this season. The first half, everything was 95 degrees and sunshine, not a cloud in the sky. And it seemed like the complete opposite the entire second half of the season. But yeah, it's just elements. And with what Furman might face if they should survive in advance, they're going to see a lot more elements than that. I'm guessing with the potential road they could see.
Well, at least it should be nice in Sacramento. One would think.
Yeah, you would think so.
One would think, but that's a possibility in round 2. Let's get through round 1. All right, quickly as we're up against the clock here. High school playoffs wise, what's brewing?
It was Payback Friday on this past Friday in the Upper State semifinals. We had 3 rematches of regular season games. And all 3 of the losers in the regular season won on Friday, all on the road. Saluda won at Southside Christian. They'll play Abbeville in another rematch this Friday in the 2A Upper State Final. Gaffney went to Burns and won Friday, a game they had lost in the regular season. And Gaffney advances to play at Dorman in the 5A Upper State Final. And the other one, I have... Daniel, yes. Daniel beat Ridgeview in the regular season. I forgot it because it got moved to Thursday. And Ridgeview came back to Daniel and won on Thursday, and they advanced in the 4A Upper State Final. They'll take on Wren. I believe that's Wren's first appearance in the Upper State Championship in 27 years. They came to Greenville and won 17-7 Friday. The average Wren score this year was like 60-30 Wren, and that's really and one of Wren's touchdowns on Friday came on an interception return for a touchdown. So the offense has got like 2 touchdowns on Friday in that game. So that was kind of an interesting battle. And then the 3A Upper State Final is Camden at Chapman. Camden came down to Union on Friday and won there, and they'll come back this way to take on Chapman Friday in the 3A Upper State Final.
By the way, if you haven't seen it, I can't remember if I saw it on Twitter or Facebook. You got to go out and find the clip at the end of the Saluda game and listen to their radio announcer. Have you seen that?
I've not seen that.
Yeah. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but the point was he said, something like, that's the ball game, and next up, them stinking Abbeville Panthers. That was a direct quote.
Right. They lost to Abbeville 48-20 in the regular season, and that's always kind of been a rival. So,
all right, Scott, tell everybody what you do and how they can follow you.
At Scott_Keeler on Twitter and thefirmsportsreport.com. And I appreciate everyone out there that checks it out.
Sounds good. Let's go see what Clay has to say.
Yes, sir.
That's going to do it for us. We will be back with you, or I will anyway, on Wednesday at some juncture, pre-Thanksgiving, and you might, he said, hear something about a turkey drop. We'll find out. Have a great day. Go out and make a positive difference in somebody else's life. And until then, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you, and so long, everybody.